Or yesterday.
Good to have kind of the week away, a week off of games.
Yeah, it's like whenever you have like a week, 10 days, you know, you just you don't really want the bitter pill of losing, you know, when you have the break. Just to have to live with the loss, you know, coming off a loss, you know, is always tough because it's you know, it's a bad feeling. But it was probably a good break for us. I think we were on like a 10-day stretch of practice, game, practice or game, and we needed a little break.
You able to get things done with all the exams going on? I mean, kids have to focus in other places sometimes.
Yeah. So the you know, it's part of you know, these guys' preparation for you know, for their adult life when the scholarships are over, is being able to compartmentalize and handle all their responsibilities as student athletes. You know, obviously, you know, number one priority is these guys' education while they're here, and then you know, but our preparation hasn't been affected, and us trying to, you know, focus on things we got to get better at, you know, it hasn't been affected. Did
you do a whole review on the first part of the season during this time, or so how'd you use the time?
Yeah, so we you know, we didn't quite, you know, because of the amount of days that we, you know, because of the way the schedule fell and having to go to 10 straight days, we were, you know, kind of forced to take 2 days off based on the, you know, the NCAA stuff. And then because of Manhattan's style, and then the Drexel and Villanova games being right on top of each other all within a week, you know, we had to kind of get right into the preparation. I think that'll be probably something, take a deep dive, maybe, you know, right after Christmas break, because then we have that really big layoff of, you know, I think 10 days before we start conference play after Villanova.
I was going to ask, how do you handle that? Because it gets really choppy right now starting.
Yeah, no, that's just, you know, it's just, you know, you deal with it, you know, the best you can. It's not ideal. You know, ideally, you'd like to have a game after the holidays as a bridge with conference play, but, yeah, that was something that we didn't have any control over. Being that the schedule was done, so you just make the best of it. But it'll be, you know, we'll probably have to bring referees in, do an inter-squad scrimmage, just try to do something to break up the monotony of that time of year of going that long without a game.
What do you want to see better on Saturday?
Man, so many things. I would say, you know, eliminate the like bad stretches, you know, where it's like, you know, bad offensive possession, bad defensive possession, miss a block out, bad offensive. We go through these, you know, 4, 5, 6 possession stretches in games that really hurt us. So at the end of the first half there with a 3-point lead, under 2.5 to go, ends up a 6-point deficit at halftime. You can't do that. So bad stretches of play, and eliminating that. Obviously the turnovers are just shouldn't happen when you have good guards. So, you know, that's an area that's got to get cleaned up. We just can't be sloppy, you know, that way. And then, you know, just continuing to try to get better defensively on the backboard. You know, it's all the same things. You know, we just gotta get better.
I know you didn't design the schedule, you inherited it, but having a couple of games like this in between the high majors, does that work out well for you to have a little kind of regroup back to the drawing board and then Villanova? Does that work for you? Or?
Yeah, I just think, you know, you want to have like balance. I think, you know, with the schedule, you know, you don't want to, you know, play like, you know, 5 high major plus types of games, and then you know, play it at the other end of the spectrum. I think you kind of want to have, you know, like a balance of like, you know, some mid-majors that are picked to win their league, maybe some teams, some programs that are also in transition. I just, you know, you probably want to just try to have the best balance while also playing those exciting games, which we have played, you know, but I think, you know, that's something we'll continue to try to get better at.
You know Masiello pretty well over the years. So.
I do. I do know Steve. I know him well. You know, excellent coach. I recruited my players at Benedict's when he was at Louisville, and then when he was at Manhattan, like we've known each other. Any guys that grow up in like the metropolitan area and play ball, like it's a small fraternity. So
he's got 1 or 2 now from Benedict's, right?
He does. He's the backup big. Is a Benedict's guy. you know, and they have a distinct style of play. You know, the zone is hard to play against. You know, the pressure. It's a completely different style of play than we've seen. Obviously, you know, they're in transition with some like young, talented players that are, you know, on their way up to kind of cycle back up to being one of the better teams in the league. So that's kind of, they're transitioning a little bit the way we are right now.
You haven't any changes in your starting lineup, which you don't necessarily have to, but is that just always been kind of a philosophy of yours, find a group that works and stick with it?
I just think at this point, you know, it's something we've kind of talked about. I think it's something that's not written in stone. You know, you know, if we're not making the type of progress over the course of the season, we're 10 games in, we're 7-3. You know, knock on wood, we haven't had you know, had a bad loss. We've had a good win, disappointed in the Iowa game, and then, you know, lost a couple of games I thought were winnable in Florida State and Arizona, where I thought we played really hard. I don't feel a need for a change right now, but if I don't like either the way that starters are playing or working on a day-to-day basis, preparing at UConn the way you should here, then yeah, I'll make a move. And it's something that we talk about in staff meetings every day, whether, you know, do we feel like we'd be better served with another guy getting more minutes or starting. So we meet every day and talk about that. Yeah, so it's active discussions, but nothing.
What player in your mind has made the biggest improvement since you've been here? Is there any one that really kind of jumps out as being one that's improved in a certain area?
You know, I would say Tyler. I'd say probably Tyler, just based on kind of where he was, the numbers. You know, and the fact that he's kind of becoming more aggressive, you know, and more assertive. You know, flashing a little bit more personality. Obviously, you'd asked me probably, you know, a week ago before, you know, before the Arizona game, somebody have said Eric. You know, big game Eric, but then big game Eric didn't do it. You know, in the Florida State, excuse me, before the Florida State game, I'd probably say Eric or you know, or Tyler. You know, and I don't know that anyone else has really like exceeded, you know, our expectations.
Speaking of the schedule, the fact that you don't play a true road game until, is that something, again, it's not I thought it was out of your hands, but in a perfect world, would you have played more? Or are these neutral site games against good teams kind of enough?
No, you need to, you know, probably have at least one road non-conference game. You know, there's now too with you know, with the way you get an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament, like getting road wins is you know, is big in terms of that whole you know, the recipe now to get an at-large bid, and I just think it's something you want to experience before you get into those valuable you know, conference games. Like you should have at least one experience, hostile crowd, you know, getting signals from the bench instead of you know, verbal cues or calls. So that's you know, something, you know, moving forward. I think you'll see road games on the schedule.
How much do you pay attention to what's going on in the conference right now? I mean, you're all playing your non-conference games, but how much do you see what's going on?
I try to watch them at night. Obviously, we're not watching them a lot during the day as we're preparing for opponents, but like I caught the, you know, Houston, LSU the other night, been able to catch Cincinnati and Central Florida, Alabama. You know, I've been able to watch some of the, you know, some of the Memphis I've seen a couple times, you know, so we get a chance to kind of look around the league without going too deep.
Right. Anything jump out? Yeah, I know it's. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I said to the team. I just think so much of is about keeping what they've been through the last couple of years, keeping the spirits up, you know, keeping them hopeful about what the season potentially could be. And I think, you know, with what Houston's been able to do, and obviously Central Florida and Cincinnati, am I missing anybody? That's been really good. Been really good. Temple. That there's going to be, and it's some pretty good computer numbers. Like there'll be, like there's going to be more chances in the conference to pick up quality wins, both home and road. So like, you know, I think you have to kind of communicate that to your players, that the league, I think, is going to represent like even more opportunities than we thought in the preseason with like quality win chances. So, like, yeah, we've blown, you know, not that we've blown a couple, but we've missed some opportunities to get some quality wins. But like, long season in the league hasn't started yet.
So these guys are pretty much 40 minutes, full court, like pressure. Is that?
Yeah, so a couple different things. Some run and jump, run and jump type of man pressure with some backside traps, and then like a 2-2-1 back to a matchup slash, 2-3 looking zone with a couple of like really interesting wrinkles that they'll use, which vary from game to game. So it's really similar to to the like Louisville system that Mass learned from Pitino.
Anybody you're looking at? And you've talked about Brendan in the past, but anybody looking to try to get more minutes? Maybe Isaiah or somebody, or should just have to work his way into the rotation.
Yeah, I thought Kasum took some steps forward, in the Florida State game, just like with his athletic ability, his defense. Obviously, we got to move him along offensively, but I thought he did a nice job. Brendan is, like I said, like Brendan's in this place where we're not like transitioning completely to like a youth movement, like completely blow it up, rebuild it, and and then we have like a really high level team. So like Brendan's just kind of caught in the kind of the in between that we find ourselves in like currently today. But yeah, I mean, he's a guy that's got a real future with us that we'd like to play more. And then I got to like kind of force myself to do it, especially if like the production ahead of him isn't great.
Well, his turnover, I think he has 5 turnovers, which is limited minutes, but his turnover level is reasonable.
Yeah, it's reasonable. And for him, it's like I think he's probably our best perimeter shooter day in and day out. It's it's being able to guard. It's being able to defend and. And just have a full understanding of what we're trying to do at both ends of the court. Drops on rotations, blockouts. It's just like the things that coaches don't trust young players with completely until they're forced to.
Anything new with Mamadou, or is he?
Yeah, he's looking. I think he's just looking like looking like he's getting a little bit better. He's dealt with a lot. He's rehabbed it well. He's hungry and excited to get back, but he's just not in a position physically where we could, where I'd be comfortable, putting him in the game.